If you listen to the first words expressed and voiced by the three heroines who returned this week from their captivity in Gaza, you'll understand how the ancient text of this week's parsha continues to resonate even today in 2025. The first words that Emily said to her mother were, "Rak bishvilech saradati," only because of you I survived. Romy turned to Emily's mother and said, "You don't know what your daughter was for me there." Emily, Doron, and Romy were all expressing a profound human truth that was articulated by Viktor Frankl, the neurologist and the psychiatrist whose experience in the Holocaust death camps led him to found logotherapy. Frankl, as we know, famously says, "For those that have a why to live can bear almost any how." In many ways, I feel like this encapsulates a belief that we saw just now, and we see in this week's Parsha, that survival hinges on a sense of purpose, on a sense of meaning, on finding something beyond oneself. In Judaism, our connections are both vertical and horizontal. As a religion, we couldn't have survived without communities. Our laws, rituals, rites, they all depend on family and communal bonds. The horizontal ties that bind us to one another give us meaning, give life meaning and depth. But Judaism also emphasizes the vertical connection, the ties that we have to transcendence, to God, to the Jewish people. And in many ways, both dimensions attest to this truth, this profound truth that we spoke about, that even in the face of terrible adversity, we know that we're part of something greater than our own individual and subjective experience, and that propels us forward. This is a truth that Moshe discovers in this week's parasha. In a moment of deep despair, where he realizes that people are not listening to him, Paro's not listening to him, he turns to God and says to him, "The children of Israel haven't listened to me. How will Paro listen to me? I'm a man of uncircumcised lips." Aral Sefatayim. Moshe's reference to Aral Sefatayim, uncircumcised lips, conveys his feelings of inadequacy. If we think about circumcision, what it does is to remove a layer. And Moshe is saying to God, I lack these necessary adornments and excesses that all of the leaders in the ancient world have. I don't have the gift of eloquence, the charisma of Paro. I'm not articulate. I'm not persuasive. I lack that grandeur, that presence of a ruler. I can't inspire in the conventional sense that a leadership should inspire. I come to the people empty. And God's response is very revealing. He instructs Moshe to return to Paro and once again demand his release. But immediately afterwards, the verse tells us, Ele Roshei Bet Avotam, these are the heads of the father's house. And it goes into this whole long genealogy of where Moshe and Aaron came from. It's almost as if God is saying to Moshe, as a response to his lack of confidence, you are significant, not just in right of who you are, but by dint of the fact that you have these ties beyond yourself. And more than that, very often we think that success comes overnight. It comes because of fame and all of those things that we have. But in reality, we know that it takes a long time, and its success is not measured by immediate results. Revolutions often fail to create sustainable change. Leadership that comes overnight or is built on something fleeting lacks depth and authenticity and doesn't endure. So Moshe's despondency is met with a reminder of his lineage, that he comes from greatness and he can rise to greatness. Every successful leader needs to know that they stand on the shoulder of giants. The narrative continues. These are the leaders of the father's house of the Levites. This was Aaron and Moshe. You are where you come from as much as who you're going to become. It is a reminder about our identity. They are their ancestors. None of us are born in a vacuum. We all part of a chain of generations, a legacy that comes before us, that precedes us, and will come after us. But we have to accept and work for that legacy. To overcome adversity, we have to view our potential for greatness with humility and self-awareness and sacrifice. But we also have to recognize the vertical ties that connect us to God, transcendent values, and the generation that came before us, as well as the horizontal ties that connect us to each other and our communities. This is the lesson we learn from the giants who were released this week from Gaza, and it's a lesson God teaches Moshe in this week's parasha. We all have the potential for leadership. Like Moshe and like Aaron, we are the descendants of greatness, but we also have to know we stand on the shoulder of giants.